There is a battery under the hood of your car right now that is going to die about 7 years before it had to. Not because it was cheap, not because your car is old, because of a handful of things nobody ever told you to do. Let me be direct. The 2 to 3 year replacement cycle you have been trained to accept is not a technical limit. It is a business model. A battery that lasts a decade is a battery somebody does not get to sell you 3 times. Nobody at the parts counter loses sleep over that math. But the mechanics who have been doing this long enough know a battery is not a disposable part. It is a chemical system, and chemical systems respond to how you treat them. Treat one well, and 10 years is not a fantasy. It is just what happens. So here are 10 things. Some take 2 minutes, some take $20. None of them need a shop. And the last one quietly destroys more batteries than heat, cold, and age combined. Number 10. Stop letting your battery cook. Ask most drivers what kills a battery and they will say cold. That slow, groaning crank on a winter morning. But that is when a weak battery shows itself, not when it got weak. The damage happened months earlier, in July, sitting in a parking lot with an engine bay radiating heat into it. Here is the science, and it is not up for debate. For every 10 degrees Celsius the temperature climbs, you cut the battery's service life roughly in half. Heat evaporates the electrolyte and corrodes the plates. A battery rated for 8 years in a mild climate can be finished in 2 if it spends its life baking. The fix costs less than a coffee. Grab a sheet of insulating foam, heavy-duty aluminum foil, and heat-resistant tape. Wrap the foam around the sides and top of the battery, but leave the terminals completely exposed. Cover the foam in foil, shiny side out, so it reflects the heat away. Tape it down. That jacket can drop the internal temperature by more than 10 degrees, and you already know what 10 degrees is worth. But temperature is only one attack vector. The next one is right on the outside of the battery where you can see it, and almost everyone ignores it. Number 9. That crust on your terminals is not dirt. Pop the hood. If you see a chalky greenish or whitish buildup on the posts, that is lead sulfate, and it is an electrical insulator. Every bit of it between your post and your clamp is a piece of the connection that is no longer connecting. The starter strains. The alternator works overtime, and the whole system suffers because of something you could remove with a toothbrush. Here is the number that should bother you. A huge share of batteries that come into shops as failures are not failed at all. The cells are fine, the connection is choked, clean it, and the car starts like nothing was ever wrong. So every 3 months, mix 2 tablespoons of baking soda into a glass of warm water. But before you touch anything, disconnect the negative cable first, always. That way, if your wrench brushes the body, nothing happens. Pour the solution over the posts. You will see fizzing. That is the acid being neutralized. Scrub with an old toothbrush until you see bare metal. Dry it completely. Then reconnect positive first, negative last. And once it is clean, you seal it, which is the next one. Number 8. Coat the posts after you clean them. Once the terminals are dry, put a thin layer of petroleum jelly over them. This sounds too simple to matter. It is not. You are creating a barrier that keeps acid vapor and moisture away from the metal, and without those 2 things, the corrosion has nothing to work with. I have seen 8-year-old batteries with posts that still looked new, and the only difference was a smear of petroleum jelly twice a year. Pennies of cost, years of savings. Now let us go inside the battery to a level most people have been told does not exist. Number 7. The electrolyte level nobody checks anymore. Somewhere along the way, the phrase "maintenance free" got printed on a label and everyone stopped looking. On many batteries, the caps still come off, and what is underneath still matters. The electrolyte is distilled water and sulfuric acid, and it is the entire working medium of the battery. Water evaporates faster in heat, and once the level drops enough to expose the tops of the plates, those sections oxidize and stop working. Capacity drops and it does not come back. So once a month, if your battery has caps, take them off and look. The liquid should cover the plates. If it does not, top up with distilled or deionized water only. Never tap water. Tap water carries minerals and chlorine that do not evaporate, they accumulate, and they poison the chemistry permanently. Now, we need one cheap tool, and it pays for itself the first time. Number 6. Know your resting voltage. Most drivers have one diagnostic. Did the car start? That is like judging your health by whether you woke up. A battery can crank fine while it is already in an irreversible decline. Get a digital multimeter for around $20. Leave the engine off for at least an hour, then touch red to positive and black to negative. You want 12.4 to 12.7 volts. Below 12.4 and the battery is undercharged and already sulfating. Above 13 with the engine off suggests overcharging, usually a failing voltage regulator, and that cooks a battery faster than neglect does. 60 seconds a month and you actually have information instead of a surprise on a cold morning. Now, knowing the voltage only helps if you know what to do when it is wrong. Number 5. Reverse the thing that is actually killing your battery. Every discharge forms lead sulfate on the plates. Normal. When you recharge, it dissolves back. The problem is when the battery sits discharged, because soft sulfate hardens into crystals that do not dissolve. They just sit there, taking plate surface permanently out of service. That is why capacity fades gradually instead of failing all at once. Caught early, it is reversible. Use a smart charger with a desulfation mode, or do it manually. Charge fully, disconnect, rest 2 hours, then reconnect on a low 2 amp current for 2 hours. Repeat 3 times. Those controlled pulses break down the crystals gradually. I have seen 5-year-old batteries come back to life this way. Prevention beats repair, though, which is the next one. Number 4. Use a smart charger like the race teams do. Race teams abuse their batteries and the batteries still last. That is method, not luck. They keep them on a maintenance charge, sometimes called a float charge, that reads the battery and holds it at its ideal state without overcharging. Buy a proper smart charger, $50 to $100, with a real maintenance mode. Skip the cheap supermarket units. Then, once a month, especially if you drive short trips, leave the battery on it overnight. Short trips are the reason this matters. A 10-minute drive never lets the alternator replace what the starter pulled out, so you run a small deficit every day. The monthly charge erases it before it becomes permanent. But all of this assumes your charging system is actually working, which is not a safe assumption. Number 3, check the alternator belt tension. The alternator keeps the battery alive while you drive, but it is only as good as the belt spinning it. A loose belt slips, the alternator turns too slowly, generates too little voltage, and your battery slowly goes flat, even on the highway. Too tight is worse in a different way, because it grinds the alternator bearings out, and that repair costs several times what a battery does. Engine off. Press your thumb firmly on the belt midway between 2 pulleys. You want about 1.5 centimeters of give. More than that is loose, less is too tight. Check it every 3 months. Now we are at the top 2. And both are about what happens when you are not around. Number 2. Kill the vampires before you leave. Someone leaves for 2 months, car locked in the garage, engine off, comes home to a battery that is not just flat but destroyed. $200 gone. That was not bad luck. Your car never fully sleeps. The clock, the alarm, the control unit, the radio memory all pull current 24 hours a day. Over a weekend, it is nothing. Over 8 weeks, it drags the battery to zero, and a battery at zero for weeks grows hard sulfate across every plate. That is why a jump does not bring it back. So before the car sits for more than a week, disconnect the negative terminal, loosen the clamp, lift it off, tuck it where it cannot fall back, and touch metal. The circuit is open, the vampires get nothing. Reconnect when you return. The only cost is resetting your clock. And now, the one that outranks everything else. Number 1. Never let it drop below half. A deep discharge is not a bad day for a lead-acid battery. It is permanent structural damage, near zero, hard. Sulfate forms across the plates fast and dense, and most of it never comes off. A battery can survive 1 or 2 of these. By the 4th, you are shopping for a replacement no matter how well you treated it. So burn this number in, 12.2 volts. Below that, you are around 50% charge, and that is your red line. Not a suggestion, a hard floor. And this is why the meter matters, because your car gives no warning. It starts fine right up until it does not. There are clues if you watch: dim headlights with the engine off, a horn that sounds weak and flat, a starter that turns over slow with a hesitation before it catches. Those do not mean the battery is about to go bad. They mean it already has. The professionals do one thing differently. They check the voltage monthly and never cross that line. So let us bring all 10 together. 10, shield it from heat. Because every 10 degrees Celsius warmer cuts the lifespan in half. 9, clean the terminals every 90 days, negative off first. 8, coat the clean posts with petroleum jelly. 7, check the electrolyte monthly and top up with distilled water only. 6, get a multimeter and keep resting voltage between 12.4 and 12.7. 5, run a desulfation cycle twice a year. 4, put it on a smart charger overnight once a month. 3, check the belt every 3 months for 1.5 centimeters of give. 2, disconnect the negative terminal anytime the car sits over a week. And 1, never let it fall below 12.2 volts. Everything else is protecting that line. None of this is expensive. A multimeter, some petroleum jelly, a box of baking soda, and 20 minutes a month. The industry built its numbers around you not knowing any of this. 10 years is not a miracle. It is just what a battery does when somebody takes care of it. Tell me in the comments how long your last battery lasted before it quit and what you were driving. I want to see how bad this really is out there.